Howdy, folks. Welcome back to NiteBites, our special inaugural edition. I'm your host, Clark Guerin.
And I'm your co-host, Denise Oliver.
Well, what's going to happen when Barack starts making a lot of mistakes?
Exactly. What is going to happen?
He's not going to be a role model anymore. Does that mean all the kids are going to go back and start rioting again? Or?
Well, here's the thing. He's a role model right now, and he hasn't made any decisions. He hasn't done anything.
Oh, he made one really bad decision. He decided to run.
No. The fact that he got elected is what makes him a positive role model right now. The fact that he ran, he organized a campaign, and people see that it's possible. That's what I consider to be positive. Now, down the line, in fact, I was even thinking about this. I'm like, wow, there's so much expectation. He's the first black president. Well, what if like the economy goes even further south and other stuff starts happening, and then they'll be, and he was lousy and we'll never let another one back in.
But that's exactly why I have my comments, which you categorize as being racist, because I say, I don't care that he's the first black president. I didn't vote for him because he was black. I voted for him in spite of the fact he was black. I voted for him because I thought he was the best person for the job. And since Hurricane Hillary was running around there, I do mean that. I felt he was the best person for the job.
Okay.
So I really think if this guy's going to have a remote chance, we need to stop thinking of him as the first black president.
Okay.
And maybe start thinking of him as the first president since Harry Truman who really comes from the people.
Okay. So what you're saying is that because the expectation will be that if he doesn't do well, then it will reflect badly on like black people?
Well, I'm certain that that's what the KKK is going to say.
Yeah.
But that's my point. How he is going to succeed or fail in this office, and I hope he succeeds, because of who he is and what he brings to the office. And the fact that he's got a little darker skin than the former occupant isn't going to have anything to do with it. The fact that he's going to get better advisors and maybe listen to them. The fact that maybe he's going to actually get advisors who represent something other than anti-abortion Christians, which is all Bush had, may have something to do with it.
Yeah.
But that's why I guess it's really been bugging me for several weeks now as I hear this. Everybody talk, well, he's the first black president. I don't think the fact he's the first black president matters. I think the fact that he's the first president of this generation. I mean, let's face it, my generation of baby boomers blew it. We had Clinton, and then we had Bush.
Well, Barack is a baby boomer too. Remember, it goes to 64.
Yeah,
so am
I. He's not a World War II baby boomer.
Well,
that's
whatever.
what they mean with baby boomers. But he and both Bush and Clinton lived through Vietnam.
Yeah.
Clinton did it as a draft dodger. Bush did it as a more sophisticated draft dodger. I don't count patrolling the skies of Texas to keep the armadillos off the freeway and electing some political hack as exactly military service. But neither one of these guys really learned not to involve America in foreign entanglements. They were all busy with nation building and whatever. I mean, Barack comes along, and he's of a generation that learned what Clinton and Bush should have learned and didn't from Vietnam, which is that you cannot export democracy to the rest of the world. And Barack really seems to know that, particularly because he spent so much time in other countries.
Yeah, and I think also what he brings to the table is the fact of, because in this internet era that the world has become such a smaller place. Like you look at him with his BlackBerry and MySpace and things like that. He's very tech savvy. And that's important because the world is a smaller place. And anything that happens will be on YouTube like the next day, okay?
Yeah.
So because of that, he's he's aware that we're not isolated. We don't live in a vacuum. We have to get along with the rest of the world. And the rest of the world has to get along with us too.
Mm-hmm.
And so we do need to assert ourselves as the power that we once were. And we need to assert ourselves as Americans. In other words, as he said, we don't need to set aside who we are in order to protect our freedom.
But see, this is the whole point, and this is something important that George Bush, the son of privilege, never understood. What America is all about, it is the only country where Barack Obama could get from where he started to where he is. It's the only country where that could happen. And that's why he is so unique in the office. The fact that he did it while he was black has nothing to do with it.
Well, I don't know. I mean, other countries have had people with humble origins rise to high stature.
Name one.
Well, where did Tony Blair come from?
He did not exactly come from poverty.
Really? I thought he had a working class background.
Not exactly.
Well, but still, again, in this internet, in this global World Wide Web age that we live in, I think Barack Obama is the right guy because he's plugged into the World Wide Web. And he realizes that, yeah, we have an impact, we have a responsibility, but doggone it, we're Americans. And you know what? We stand for something. We stand for something, and we're not going to let that something go.
And what we stand for, this is the most important thing, he said it over and over, what we stand for and what makes us strong is we are a melting pot of all different philosophies, of all different backgrounds, and we all work to succeed together.
Tolerance.
Not just tolerance, acceptance.
Okay, acceptance.
There's a difference between tolerance and acceptance. That's part of our strength. That's part of his strength. And that's why I really think he's going to do well. I hope he's going to do well. It was so glad to hear somebody say that we don't need to protect ourselves at the expense of our ideals, which is what he said today. I couldn't agree with that more.
Yeah.
And that's not because he's the first black president. That's because he's the first president in a while who understood what's great about this country.
Absolutely. I agree.
Okay, well, it's been a delight discussing this with you.
Thank you.
And I hope you all out there got something out of it, and we'll be back again soon. Thanks for watching.
Thank you.